Good morning and a warm welcome to all of you. It's a privilege to welcome you all this morning to the NPC here at Bangalore and also to the Sales and Marketing Summit that we are going to have here for the next 4 hours. The Sales and Marketing Summit was planned based on the Sales and Marketing Special Interest Group that we have at NASSCOM. We had a team which kind of planned it. We have put across about 5 sessions in all during the next 4 hours. And the first session that we will have today will be on tri-alignment. Tri-alignment is the key. The sales, marketing, and product functions have to come together for the benefit of the organization. That's what the topic is all about. And for this, we have with us Karl Rumelhart. Karl, if you could please come onto the dais. Thank you. Welcome, Karl. And before I leave the stage to Karl, a quick introduction. Karl is currently the Vice President of Products for Gainsight, where he leads the product vision and execution for Gainsight's comprehensive customer success platform. He has held senior product and marketing roles at some of the most successful enterprise software and SaaS companies in the Silicon Valley. As an early employee of VMware, Karl led product management for Virtual Center and drove the acquisition of SpringSource and led products for the vFabric business unit. Karl has run product teams at enterprise social entrepreneur pioneer Jive and predictive analytics firm Infer. And prior to his software career, Karl was an academic mathematician lecturing at Stanford after receiving his PhD from Harvard. Welcome, Karl, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. It is a true pleasure and honor to be here, so thank you. This is my first NASSCOM event, and I couldn't be more excited. As we mentioned, I used to be a math professor, so there'll be a quiz. So everybody be ready for that. So everybody got pencils? Pencils are ready. Awesome. Okay. Like we said, I run products for a company called Gainsight. We are based in Silicon Valley as well as in Hyderabad, and with an office as well here in Bangalore. So although I'm out in Palo Alto, I come every 2 to 3 months to India, and it's sort of second home to me now. So it's utterly fantastic to be part of the whole group here. So thank you guys very much. I think we'll have a fun topic. We're going to have a topic. I want to start the topic with a Dilbert cartoon, which you guys hopefully all like to read Dilbert. In Dilbert, what happens? The CEO says we have a problem with revenue, so we blame sales. What does sales do? They blame marketing. What does marketing do? They blame engineering. And now the pointy-haired boss asks Dilbert, who are you going to blame? Blame the coffee. Blame the coffee. Good answer. Blame the coffee. That's actually, no, that's pretty good. We'll blame G&A. We didn't get enough coffee going. Okay. So this is, this sound familiar? Anybody been through, anybody in the company seen this? Yeah. So we need to stop the finger pointing. I want to talk a little about that finger pointing. Now, my perspective on this is as a product guy. So I'm one of the guys either pointing fingers or getting fingers pointed at me. So that's one perspective. The other perspective is just as a senior leader. And I really want to take this opportunity to talk about how we as senior leaders in our organizations can move beyond this and actually lead our organizations to turn this into something productive. So let's talk a little bit about what some of these things are. And I'll give examples. These might be familiar. So we have, this picture is actually Sarkozy and Medvedev, but we'll pretend it's sales and marketing. So pointing fingers at each other. So what are they pointing fingers about? They're pointing fingers about saying, the leads are terrible. Bad leads. Anybody heard salespeople complain about leads? What does marketing say? The leads are fine. You just don't know how to work the leads. Right? The leads are fine. Now what is product here? Our competitors are killing us. They have all the features that we don't have. Our features are not important. What does product say back? Product says, you just aren't positioning the differentiation right. You're not positioning the value. You ever been in this? If you're a product guy, you've heard this one from sales. If we don't commit to building this feature, we're going to lose the deal. Everybody's heard that one, yeah? And what does product say? You're an idiot. That's insane. Honestly, and this is, so a couple of points about it. First of all, this really happens. A lot of nodding in the audience. We've all been there. And it can be, there can be real costs. I've been at a company in which we on the product side, it was a very sales-led company, and we ended up basically building those features for those deals, and in the end, I believe, killed the company. On the other hand, let's not say that necessarily the leads are good, right? I mean, it could be that they're not, or that the positioning is right, or that the product is in fact all that it needs to be against the competition. So we have to get to the truth. I do want to give two stories of a little more hope here. And when I was at VMware, I was on the product side, and it was very early there. And the sales team was not allowed to complain. The head of sales, Karl, who went on to become president of VMware, is now at Sequoia. He would take us and he would say, "We have the best product, and if a salesperson can't sell it, I will fire them." And that is one way to solve this problem. You simply declare that thou shalt not complain. And in that case, we did have a great product, so it was the right choice, but we need to get down to the truth of the matter. And I'm going to give you with one more additional piece of good news before we kind of get into how to make this go. We are at Gainsight, we're about 400 people. We have most of our customers in North America, a lot of big companies, Cisco, HP, IBM, GE, some smaller companies obviously as well. But we're very pleased that we now have our first customer in India, which is here in Bangalore, a company called Belong that's in the recruitment assistance technology space. And both myself on the product side and our director of engineering based here were part of closing that deal. So we feel that there's hope in all of us getting aligned. Okay. I want to begin with a little bit of a framework. And I hope everybody knows Peter Drucker, the great management thinkers of the second half of the 20th century. So if you don't know Peter Drucker, go read about Peter Drucker, please. And he tells us the purpose of business is to create and keep a customer. And the context of this is basically saying, if you're in business and you're not doing this, you're overhead. Okay? And these organizations that we're talking about, sales, marketing, product, these are not overhead. This is their job, all of them. They have the same underlying goal. The same underlying goal. But they approach it from different time frames. Okay? Just want to expose where some of this conflict is coming from. See, if I'm in sales, my job is to get the customer. But my time horizon is relatively short. Maybe a quarter, depending on your business, a month, a quarter, a year, whatever the cycle is, but it's relatively short. If I'm in marketing, I have the same underlying goal, but my time horizon is longer. I'm looking at this a couple quarters out, or a couple years out, depending again on the business. And if I'm in product, I again have the same underlying goal, which is to get that customer. But I have the longest time horizon, right, for product. Make sense? So I think what we want to observe here is two things. First of all, it is inevitable that there will be some conflict. It's intentional, because these organizations are given different missions. The missions are kind of easy to think about in terms of different time frames. Okay? So they're going to look at the world from different points of view. It makes sense. Sales is going to say, look, my job is to close the quarter successfully, so I need certain things. And product's job is to say, I got to look ahead and not make dumb choices now that are going to hurt us later. That's normal, okay? So just simply cutting that off is not what we want. And yet that finger pointing is not productive. So this is the first message I want to give you. To get through this tension, to get through this finger pointing and conflict, we have to break through the differences in these organizations, these different parts of your company, down to the thing that is common. And the thing that is common is the focus on customers. Make sense? Right? Focus on the customers. Focus on the thing that's the same for all of them. So let's talk about how this would really work. What do I mean? How can we change the conversation from the finger pointing to a productive, useful conversation? So we'll start with the first example. The leads are terrible. The leads are fine, you're just not working them right. Okay, I don't know. These may be true, they may not be true. We can go talk to the CEO, and who has more political clout wins, and we declare this leads to be good or bad. Not very effective. How about instead, let's have a system for comparing our leads to our existing customers. And we can see, and if the leads are very similar to our existing customers, then I think those leads are probably good leads. And if the leads are not similar to our existing customers, then those leads, not so effective, right? And not only that, while we're doing it, once we're saying, oh, these leads are similar to these customers, not only that, I have a way of helping to take that to market. Because I can say, hey, how do I work this lead? How about I reference that customer? Okay? So if we pull it back down to customers, now we have something that's more effective. The competition has a better product than we do. No, you're just not positioning it right. We're not positioning our differentiators. I don't know, maybe. How do we actually get down to something useful from this conversation? How about we talk to our customers? We talk to our existing customers. We'll say, how much value are our customers getting from those features? If our customers are driving lots of value from those features, then those features really are valuable differentiators. If they're not using them, they're not. Again, different change in the level of the conversation. Often we say this is or isn't a good feature based on our conversation with each other. We run it through the customers, we have more context to speak. Make sense? And not only that, if we map back to our existing customers, we actually have a way of not only realizing that we have a differentiation, but actually leveraging that differentiation in the sales process, referencing those customers. One more. We need to commit to building this feature in order to get the deal. No, that's a one-off. What do I do? As I just said, you get this wrong, your company's in trouble, right? How do you actually get through this? Think about that. Right? Have we been in this situation? On the one hand, you say, like, gosh, if I don't do this, I might not get this deal. That'll be terrible. But if I do it, and it's a stupid thing, my product becomes a camel. My product becomes designed by people who have never even used my product, these prospects. How do we actually get through that? It's a very, very important conversation. Again, do we, like in my old company, just say, well, the CEO is kind of a sales-oriented guy, so sales wins. Here's what I propose. In this situation, we go to our existing customers and we ask them, what do you think about this? If we had this feature, would you use it? Would you like it? Would you buy it? Would you pay more? If the answer to that is yes, then we're good. Then we go ahead. We build that feature. If the answer is no, nobody wants that, then this is a big error, big mistake. We push back against sales. Yeah? We also challenge sales in this context to say, you want us to build that? Your quota is going to have to go up because you're just convincing us that that's a feature to build. Cool, okay. So what have we got here so far? We've got the idea that says there are two zones. We have the zone of what I call the zone of unproductive tension. When these organizations are pointing fingers at each other because they're focused on their own priorities. I need to close the quarter right now. I need to build the product that's going to be valuable next year. That's irreconcilable. Those are different. And then we have the zone of healthy dialogue. And the zone of healthy dialogue comes when we refocus that conversation around our customers. We ask those same questions as the examples I gave, not about each function, but we say, what is this thing we're talking about? Reframe that in terms of customers, now ask and answer the question. Okay, this is my first piece of guidance. Cool. So far, so good. But there's more. What did Peter Drucker tell us? Peter Drucker says, the purpose of a business is to create and keep a customer. This "and keep a customer" is a pretty big deal right now. Pretty big deal right now. So often, those of us who have grown up in the technology world have a trouble adjusting. It used to be when we would sell products, we would just sell it and forget it, right? Ship it. It's on the loading dock, and away it goes. And my work here is done, right? Those of us with gray hair know about this. Those of us who are newer know that that isn't the way the world is now. We've gone from software to SaaS. We've gone from devices to IoT. We've gone from transactions to subscriptions. And we've gone from sales to outcomes. The way to simply say it is everything is a service, right, as we go forward. Again, we work in this space. I mean, example of companies like GE that we work with. Could you be more device-oriented than a company like GE? Turbines, giant pieces of equipment. Go read Harvard Business Review. Read what they're saying, but they have no interest in selling things anymore. They're selling outcomes. We're going to join with you for power generation. We're going to get together and we're going to generate power. Not that I'm going to ship you a machine and I'm going to move on. So what this means is that every time we engage with a customer, we are not having a transaction with that customer. We're effectively marrying them. Right? We're signing up together for the duration. So much. Does that resonate, you guys? That's the transition. And by the way, I'm very a little too passionate about it. I'm very passionate about that. That is our business at Gainsight. We are all about this transition towards the outcome economy. But as we focus it in this example, it means that at the minimum, it means there's another player in this game we were just talking about. There's another player in this game. And that is somebody, again, who has the same focus on creating and keeping the customer, but is looking at it as the post the initial sale. Okay? That's the customer success team, or you might call it the account management team, right? That his job is to actually do not the initial sale, but the renewal, the expansion, the health, the onboarding, the adoption. Okay? So this is another player. And guess what? We're now going to have you another set of fingers pointing. Another set of fingers are going to start pointing here. Let's give some examples of how that goes. Why are these guys not renewing? Your job is to make them successful. You sold to the wrong customer. It's not a fit. Has anybody ever been, has there ever been a salesperson who managed to sell something to where it wasn't a fit? Right? It used to be that it was like, ha, I got you now, right? And now it's a big problem because as you move forward, you just married the wrong person. Right? That's not good. Right? You are now have to make that successful. So on the other hand, you know, I don't know, is it really a problem? I mean, did we really sell to the wrong customer? Or did we just not do a good job making them successful? I don't know. How do we know? Well, again, I'm going to come down with some guidance. Do we have similar customers that have been successful? Right? Do we have similar customers that have been successful? The answer to that is yes. Then, well, okay, why isn't this one successful? And also, what are the factors? We have to get in and thinking about these customers. What are the factors that led them to be successful, or leading them to be healthy or not healthy? And it could be something that's totally unrelated to their fit and therefore not the problem for sales. Or if it's just that they're unhealthy because they're unable to get the product or service working for them, then we go back to sales. So this is another finger pointing example. Customers aren't using the new feature. Instead, they want the bugs fixed. Right? The customers aren't using that fancy new feature. Boy, I guess back in the day, it didn't matter, actually, whether they were using it or not. It mattered because once they bought it, they bought it. But then what is the response from the product team? Anybody ever heard this, right? Yeah, but sales not using it. Well, sales wanted it. Sales wanted it, right? We needed, that was the feature X. How are we going to get past this one? Well, we had better actually figure out what our customers, our existing customers, truly want, truly need. Are they getting value from it? And are we getting their input fully? So see, this is a tension. If you're a product guy like I am, we now have this fundamental tension in this world. Do I listen to my existing customers and what they want and build to that? Or do I listen to my sales team and ask, what do they need? What is this shiny new demo? How do we get through that tension? Right? We're going to be forever fighting. So my guidance here is, frankly, listen to your customers. But use the success of your customers as your sales pitch, rather than some unknown new feature. Does that make sense? This is, by the way, this is how you ratchet this into success. I'm going to focus on my customers. I'm going to build what makes them successful. And I'm going to use the success of my customers to generate additional customers and make that the positive loop. Okay, so now we have a fourth guy that's at the table. All right, I want to provide some practical guidance. What do we actually do to get this going on? What do we actually do, take steps to move us in the direction of not thinking about the zone of finger pointing and get to focusing on our customers so we can stay aligned? From a sales perspective, I've said this many times, identify similar customers for your prospects. Now, some folks here are probably with startups, and they say like, well, that would be good if I had any customers to compare them to, which is a problem, by the way, which is why it's hard to be a startup, isn't it? But I would say if you have customers already, you have existing customers, don't put yourself in the position of the startup without a customer, because that's a hard place to be. Take advantage of the customer you have and use that as you build your business moving forward. So identify similar customers, and then use the adoption and success of those customers as your key part of your sales pitch. That may sound obvious. People don't actually do this. Actually, next time you get a sales pitch, see how often that's the conversation. It's crazy. It's a huge error. From a marketing perspective, very concretely, one of the most important and most common things people do in marketing, obviously, is generate leads, and then the notion of scoring leads becomes very important. And I think I've worked in this business, and I probably 150 different companies I've studied their lead scoring process. And what I'll tell you almost every time is they pay way too much attention to behavioral parts of the lead. They'll say, oh, but buying signals is, everybody, oh, they downloaded my white paper or whatever they did. Sure, that's fine. I mean, we can look at that. But what you miss is this lead a good potential customer for you? Do they look like your existing customers? So please score your leads on that basis primarily. And you can use some of those buying signals if you want to. But score your leads on this basis. It's one of the singularly most important messages I want to get to you from a marketing perspective. And then please, if you don't have a reference and advocacy program, build one. The reference and advocacy program is one of the best ways to align across sales, marketing, customer, and product. Because again, it's a very concrete way of putting the customer at the center. It's how we're selling, it's how we're marketing, it's what we're building for. From the product side, we need to own adoption within product. If we don't own adoption within product, we're not going to be able to be focused on the customer. And we've got to, again, have that customer feedback. If you're in the product organization and you don't have a community, an online community of your customers, you're missing a huge opportunity. That type of engagement, that type of learning that you have from your customers, again, it'll bring everybody right down. Well, I guess we're all fighting with each other, but right here on our community, 5 customers me too'd that we need X. It's not my opinion anymore. And for us executives that are running this business, we need to give equal time to the health of our existing customers, the status of our renewals, as we do to our pipeline. And we wonder why people have churn problems, and you go into their executive teams, and they're like, first thing, tell me about the pipeline. Tell me about the forecast. And then, you know, oh, meeting's over. What, did you ever ask about your customers? Once in that meeting? We have a rule in our company. Every single executive offsite that we have at least one live customer speaker. Live customer speaker. We talk about customers every single executive meeting. Customer health, customer status, how they're going. And then finally, you need to bring this to the top level of your business objectives. NPS, customer health, the customer adoption measures. At the end of the day, none of this really is going to matter if you don't. I mean, at the end of the day, you can say it as an executive, and if you don't make those metrics top of mind for, you know, top level metrics, then it's talk. But if they are the top level metrics and that's how the teams are being measured, then it's real. Then it's real. Okay? So hopefully some practical guidance, some steps to take. Okay, let me talk about systems and metrics a little bit more. On a practical level, if we're going to align our business around our customers, so we're focused on, remember what Peter Drucker said, the shared thing for all of us who aren't overhead are those customers. And that's the way we're going to stay aligned, because we're going to focus back to our shared objective. There are some very specific things I'd recommend. Make sure that everybody in your business truly understands the customers. You need to pull the customer information together. You need to have a single place. It's just as silly to have an argument. Just as it's silly to have an argument about the leads are good. No, they're not. The leads are good. No, they're not. And just like, where's that going to go? It's just as silly to say the customers want this. No, they don't. No, that customer is really healthy. No, he's not. That's not going to get us anywhere either, right? So we have to have a shared place and kind of mechanism and methodology for understanding the customer's health and the status of that customer. If you don't have a customer success team, then, well, that's understandable if you don't have any customers. But if you have customers, you need a customer success team. And that's true for two reasons. First of all, again, if you don't, you're in a marriage and you're not actually paying any attention to the person you married. So that's bad, right? You've got to actually invest in that outcome. And second, because that customer success team owns the information about the customer and becomes that central point where the other teams can come and get that shared information so that they can then have those rational conversations rather than the finger pointing. And as I mentioned in the last slide, and I'll repeat it here, top-level customer metrics have to be part of every executive presentation. Or every executive meeting have to be part of the top-level way you measure success as a business. Okay, let me sum up. So we developed a framework here. We talked about a framework for why, understanding why, and broadly speaking, how to deal with this lack of alignment. It comes for understandable reasons, because different functions are tasked with different things, most obviously understood by having different time frames. But at the core, everybody is pushing to get and keep customers. So if you want to reduce that tension, refocus the conversation to that level. How to do that practically? Number one, hold all teams accountable for talking and framing their conversation in terms of customers. Okay? We don't have to be Karl Eschenbach and say, you shall not, by the way, he's brilliant, so I'm just not criticizing him. He was the best sales leader I've ever worked with. But we don't have to just say, you can't criticize the product is not allowed. That's going too far. But you can say, feel free to criticize the product as long as you're doing it in the context of talking about customers. Okay? Feel free to tell me that the features aren't any good as long as you're talking about it as whether the customers are able to use it, able to get value, and so on, okay? So we need to hold teams accountable for that framing. And second, we need to set up systems and teams in order to actually operationalize this focus on the customer. I'm good? I think I'm there. We have 2 or 3 minutes, although we started late. If there are questions, we can take them, or conversations. Let me know.
Talking about customer advocacy and the fact that we need to have a
Yes.
Easier said than done.
Yes.
We tried that multiple times. For
Yeah.
getting customers engaged, it's not easy, really, depending on the type of product
Yes.
that you have. I mean, certain products, obviously it's easier.
Yep.
But many products, the majority of them, it's very hard to get your customers to spend the time and the effort to engage with you.
This was a great question. It just maybe we might have missed the first part of that. It says customer advocacy, community, all that sounds, it's great, and we try it. It's really hard. So yeah, it's a fantastic point. It's easy for me to say, if you don't have a community with all of your customers talking about it, get one. I was like, well, how the heck do you get one, right? How do you actually get that sort of engagement? I agree, it's very hard. So to answer that question, first of all, there isn't magic. And so my guidance here is to make it a priority. That doesn't mean that it's going to just happen or be easy, but that it's worth the effort. Okay, so that's one statement. The second thing is, I would encourage you to think about different forms of engagement, especially in the early stages. An online community, as I said, is fantastically important. At Gainsight, we have a really outstanding online community. It's enormous for us, but we got there over time, and it can be a little bit of a tough place to start because it's like, I put the community, and then like there's nobody there, and it's just kind of depressing, right? One piece of guidance is early on events can be a particularly good way to get that going on. It's a time-based, time-bound. Getting customers together physically can generate a lot of engagement. And again, it can be a little bit more direct. You can have very focused effort to get people, into certain events and things like that, and make the events oriented around talking to each other. And that would be kind of an example, I would say. So think about ratcheting up different types of engagement activities. I mean, start with a customer advisory board. Again, you're taking only your best ones. Have larger events. Get your customer advisory board people to be at the event. Then other people want to come to it, and so on, and build your way up like that.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, another one. I think we got 2 minutes, so we're doing all right.
Hi, good morning. I'm Adnan, founder and CEO of HouseScale Education Solutions.
Great.
So actually, I have a doubt. We are a startup, and we have won like couple of awards, like top 100 startups in India in 2015. So the basic problem that we are facing is, being a startup, we have limited resources, we have limited capital, and in those like limited resource and limited capital, how we can reach or target like the massive amount of customers across globe. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting question. We actually talked about some of this before. I think I'll give you my. I mean, look, being a startup is a hard thing to be. I was a company before this where I was number 6 at a startup. We grew from 4 to 44 customers at that period of time, and I did like 6 jobs, right? 10 jobs, right? That's the way it is at a startup. There's no magic answer. It's not an easy thing. But I'll give you one piece of guidance for the specific item that you're talking about. I have limited capital. How it's great. I want to reach all these people. I want to do these advocacy. I want to kind of build this whole thing up. I want to build these systems. How do I do this in a scaled way? My general guidance, and it's taken off a little bit from this conversation, is don't shy away as an early stage company from focusing your market. Because the thing that's going to be most difficult and most expensive is the breadth. You want to start with a big market because you're like, I want to be a huge company, so I have to have a huge market. But if you begin by narrowing it down and keeping your focus more tight, then a lot of the things we're talking about here become easier. First of all, your customers become more relevant to each other. I get the first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 customers. The next one is more, because our market is more focused, is more similar. I can utilize that more effectively. But if I get a customer here randomly all over the place, I don't get a piece of density. I can't get that advocacy going on because the customers don't really know who each other are. So don't be, and marketing becomes incredibly expensive because I'm trying to reach this vast audience. So you're in a weird place where you want to articulate a huge upside market, but practically speaking, at the beginning, you need to narrow it down. So that's at least one, no magic, but that's at least one piece of guidance I'll give. Guys, this has been fantastic. I think my time is up, so we can talk more as the day goes on. Thank you, everyone. Karl from Gainsight, I'd love to talk with you. And if you have any questions about customer success management, that's what we do, customer success management platform, so I'd love to talk about that as well. Thanks, everyone.
And before you leave, on behalf of NASSCOM, a small token of appreciation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So kind.